Here are the four tiers of wealth. So tier one is 100K. Now this one is the hardest, but luckily it does get easier as you climb. 100K invested is impressive because you can't get there by accident. So it's proof that you've got good financial habits, you have discipline, and that you're able to save consistently. Tier two is 500K. If you're relatively young, say under the age of 45, having 500K means that you can coast fire, which means that you can stop investing altogether because your portfolio is already big enough that compounding alone will grow it into a full retirement. At that point, you can just coast at your job or you get a part-time job to cover bills. Tier 3 is a big jump for me. I think it's 2 million because if you have this much, 4% withdrawn every single year is 80K per year in retirement, which means that you can get a full income without working. This should be enough for 99% of people, and work is entirely optional at this point. Now, if you have a higher cost of living or many liabilities like multiple houses or kids, then maybe not. But for most people, this is when you're pretty much financially free. And tier 4 is $5 million. This is where you just stop thinking about money altogether. Now, the best part is that if you can reach tier 1, which takes a lot of effort, getting to tier 2 is a lot easier because of compounding, and then hopefully you're on your way to tier 3. Getting to tier 4 or $5 million though is actually quite hard, and we can talk about some methods to do that in a future video, but let me know what tier you are on in the comments.
So what does that even mean, right? What do we mean when we're talking about the tiers of wealth? Well, those numbers right there represent what's known as your net worth. So if you have never tracked or calculated your net worth, I challenge you guys to do so. And if you need help doing that, what I recommend you guys do is try a free trial of Monarch Money. Monarch Money is basically an all-in-one budgeting and finance app. You can create a budget, track your net worth, keep up with your credit score. Everything under the sun that has to do with money, this app can do. Now, there's a link down below in my description where you can sign up to get a free trial, or you can scan this QR code here to get started with Monarch Money today. Now, when it comes to your net worth, how you track this is you take all of your assets, so the equity you have in your house, the amount of money you have in your investment accounts, and then you subtract that from all your liabilities. Your liabilities being any debt that you owe, so the mortgage on that house, any credit card debt that you have, student loan debt, any sort of debt payments that you may have, you have to make sure you're calculating that into your net worth. Once you take the assets minus the liabilities, that's where you get that final number. Now, wherever you fall in that tier, if you're below tier 1 or you've hit tier 4, then kind of how this rolls in together is what he was talking about at tier 4. When you have $5 million in the bank, right, or you have $5 million worth of assets, there is what's called a safe withdrawal rate. So you can pull 4% of that every month, and it's supposed to, like, we don't know what the future returns are going to look like, but you're supposed to be able to have that account continue to grow every single year because the average rate of return on money in the stock market is around 8 to 10%. So if you're pulling out 4, it still should be growing 4 to 6%. So as mentioned, if you take that 4% withdrawal rate, you're literally living off of $200,000 a year. That's almost $17,000 a month you're paying yourself if you can get yourself to that $5 million mark. I don't know about you guys, but I could live a very happy life off $200,000 a year.
We've been talking to my therapist. I don't know what's going on here. So, yeah. So, I don't know. Yeah, I'm driven. I have plenty of money. I don't ever need to work again. And I like working. I like doing things. And I have people on my team that I'm looking to create value for. And that's important to me. And I'm just not ready to go hang out at the beach.
Are there any true tiers to wealth?
It's a great question. Last year I flew around 500 hours on a private plane because I was running a $10 billion company, and it was exhausting, and that's made sense, and that was very logical expense. Mm-hmm. This year I'm working on very small deals. It's hard to justify to fly on a private plane to go look at a little deal. The plane costs more than the, whatever. It's like it's mind bending. So, I don't know the right answer. I kind of spend money based on, what it is I'm working on. So I came to see you nice folks. I flew commercially on this nice airline called United, and it was great. And they served me lunch when I came over yesterday. I thought that was great. And, that was perfectly suitable. I wasn't going to spend, $100,000 to come and visit you guys, as charming as you are. And, though I certainly could afford it, it just doesn't seem to make sense. So it is a debate. How much do you spend? We were in Beverly Hills a week ago, and we stayed at the Beverly Hills Marriott. It was very nice. and I think it wasn't cheap, by the way. I think spending based on what's going on in any particular situation. If you're taking your spouse and your family on a vacation, and you might choose to spend more. But I think in business, I try to be as thoughtful and careful on spending what's appropriate for the situation.
Do you fly economy?
I often fly economy because I'm like, first class is so bad, it's such a waste, but not if it's a long, long flight. I'm finally getting to the point where if it's a long flight or it's international, I'll fly first class.
When do you fly first class versus economy? Is there a
net
number of
worth?
hours or net worth?
Is there a net worth? It
Yeah.
had nothing to do with it. So
It's purely value.
it's purely like, I'm flying to Boston. Like, who cares? Like from New York to Boston, why do I care? But if I'm flying to LA, I'll either fly private or I'll fly first class.
So it's more of a value of what you get for it.
I don't
then.
know. These are warped. I'm sure these are all warped, kind of response. We're all a little weird, like,
Well, I'm just
No,
curious.
because I
Like,
find
this helps
because
us
I always
understand-
fly economy, no
Right.
matter what, and it's only recent.
and if you
that
fly to
people-
Europe, you'll
It was
fly.
always premium economy,
Right.
always.
Right.
And it was just recent that we had a guest on the show who said, "You're flying back from Europe, get first class." And I resisted it. And I was like, no, premium economy. Why would I spend the extra money? I spent the extra money, but still in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, was that really worth it?
I'll tell you a funny story.
Okay, so first off, that's one of my favorite podcasts that I watch every single episode on, or I listen to. It's called the Iced Coffee Hour. Highly recommend you check those guys out. They have some amazing content, amazing material over there. But there was a couple points I wanted to touch on with you guys because he makes some great points. So the first one being finding the value in what you're spending money on, right? So I do that to this day. I look at stuff that, for example, when he mentioned if you're going on a trip with your family, like a vacation, you're paying for an experience, that's when my wife and I say, hey, listen, we're going to bring out a couple extra dollars and we're going to spend a little bit more money because it's something that's very valuable to us. And we know that we're paying for an experience and we're paying for memories that we're going to have to enjoy the rest of our lives. I'll be honest with you guys. Whenever I talk to my kids and we're talking about things we've done or, fun memories, it's 75% of the time it's past family vacations. When we talk about old Christmases, we have a tradition that we do every year now, going 3 years strong, coming up this Christmas, is we surprise the kids with a trip where we're going somewhere for Christmas. So it's usually right after the holiday or right before the holiday, and it's just us four. We go, we fly down, and it's somewhere fun, somewhere different that we've never been before, and we're doing that every single year until we can't do it any longer. And they always talk about that. Every Christmas, it's always like, oh my gosh, can't wait for the trip. What's the trip going to be? Not once are we talking about what they got, from Santa or what one of their gifts was material-wise for Christmas. So that there is true value there. And then when it comes to the flight aspect, this all kind of intertwines with how you grow your net worth, how you get above those higher tiers of wealth is by thinking logically about how you spend your money. When you're willy-nilly just buying every little thing left and right, you're never going to get ahead, guys. You're never going to get that net worth to move up. And the biggest part of that is tracking. When you're not tracking what you're spending, when you're not tracking your net worth, you have no idea where you're at. That's why I recommend Monarch Money. I use it myself personally. It's been amazing. It's been awesome. My wife also is connected to it, so she can see where spending's at on a day-to-day basis. We also get notified when stuff's popping up. So again, click that QR code if you're interested in trying that out. Free trial, link down below in the description, or the QR code there.
There's a lot of levels of rich, but my favorite level of rich for everybody to try to get to is the level where you can go to a restaurant, look at the menu, and not care about the price at all. You're just going to pick out whatever your preference is. But wait, it gets even better. The day that you can go and take out your significant other or your family and friends to dinner and cover the entire bill, like you do this thing. You get up to go to the bathroom, flag down the waiter, you say, hey, come here, bud. Cover all your friends and their wives before they even know about it. Chef's kiss. I'd say the next level after this is shared experiences, because that's what I love spending my money on. Is I will go buy, instead of just buying tickets for me and my girlfriend to a concert or something, I'll buy like 5 or 6 tickets and invite all my friends. And now I'm even doing vacations that I pay for it. Guys, this is the game. But I promise you, I've never felt more rich than the day that I was able to go to a restaurant, look at the menu, and say, I'll take it all.
Okay, well, I've never said that, but I will say it is nice to be able to go to a restaurant. See, this is one thing that Dave Ramsey talked about whenever I was listening to his podcast. I mean, this was 10 plus years ago. And that was like my main form of motivation when I was first getting on my like personal finance journey, is he would say that same thing. He would say, what's real nice is when you can read the menu in a restaurant from left to right, not from right to left, meaning that the prices are always on the right side. So you're not looking at the price first. You're looking at what the food item is. You see what you want. Then you don't worry about what the price is. When I got to that point of being able to do that, now don't get me wrong, guys, I don't do this every time I go out to eat, because we also do go out to eat a lot. My wife and I will still eat budget friendly, but there are those nights where we're like, hey, we're going to enjoy, or we're going to celebrate something, or it's a fun event with the family. Like, we're going out and we're going to buy exactly what we want, appetizers, the whole 9 yards. And you don't have to worry about it because of all the years that have led up to this, of managing the finances correctly, of putting the money away whenever I could have gone out and buy a brand new car. I could have gone up and bought, some fancy new watch or whatever it is. Instead, I chose to put my money away. I chose to invest. I chose to pay off my debt, and I chose to live a responsible life. So now that I can live, man, it's cool. I get goosebumps saying it. Now that I can read the menu item from left to right, it's cool. It really is. And I hope that motivates one of you guys out there, because I remember this clear as day, being in my cubicle, listening on my podcast, or on my headphones, the podcast, and just hearing that, and I'll be like, man, that would be cool. If you guys take anything from this video, let that be your motivation, because, guys, I was your irregular, average, broke college kid. And if I can do it, you definitely can do it.
Real wealth is not designer bags. It's not flashy cars. It's literally waking up whenever the hell you want. It's going to Pilates midday just because you can. It's getting your hair done on a random weekday without having to ask for time off. That is real wealth, okay? It's extending your trip just because you feel like it, not because somebody had to approve it. That is the kind of life that I have always wanted. The life that I know I was always meant for. Not one where, I feel like I had to escape. Not one where I feel like I have to have a break from, And the only way that I got here was by building something that pays me whether I am working on it or not. That's the only way. And for me, that was building a premium brand on Amazon. For me, no brainer, because real wealth isn't what you have. It is how you actually live every single day. And I wouldn't have it any other way. I wouldn't have it any other way.
That's my ultimate goal, guys. I mean, to live a life where you can literally choose what you do every single day. You're not tied down to something. Now, I want to say this too, though. Like, the goal for me isn't to just retire and go sit on a beach. Like we saw in that one guy that mentioned, earlier in the Iced Coffee Hour podcast, he was saying that he loves to work. He loves to build. And I feel like I've had that, because I've had the time where I took a year off. And the first month was pretty cool. We were living in Florida. Like, I took a year off work. I was like, just going to figure out what we're going to do here. And the first month was great. After that, I was miserable. I was absolutely miserable because I didn't know what my identity was. I didn't know. I didn't have nothing to wake up for in the morning, obviously besides my family, but to work on, to build, to grow. And I need that. Now, again, that's probably not for everybody, but that's how I am. And if you're watching this video, I'm going to guess you may be kind of like that too. So for me, I look at my next goal is like, okay, I want to hit that tier 4. I want to hit that $5 million of net worth, right? I want that to be able to know that if anything ever happens, I can coast. I can pull 4% off that $5 million and I'm set, right? Now, it's going to take me some time to get there. It is. It's going to take me some time and effort, but damn, I'm working for it. I'm working to get there. And in the meantime, I'm enjoying the journey. I have found something. I've gone through my life and I've picked multiple jobs. I've done different careers, from engineering to construction to a full-time YouTuber to now half full-time YouTuber, half full-time mortgage broker. And there's little other things in the mix with real estate investing and whatnot. I have figured out what I wanted in my life. I have tried. I have changed. And I think that's the thing most people are afraid of, is they just look at their life like, oh, this is never going to happen to me. I never thought that. I never once thought that about myself. And I don't mean to make this video about myself, but I'm hoping to sell the point here that this can happen for you. And that you should be motivated like I am to hit goals. Because if you don't have goals, if you don't have the motivation or the confidence that you can do it, it's never going to happen for you. Never. So you have to actually believe in yourself first that you can do it. And I do believe I'll hit 5 million. I do, 100%. It's going to take some work. It's going to take some risk. It's going to take some long hours sometimes. But for me, it's worth it.
Who's destined to become a millionaire? It's the people who have obsession. You see, most people think becoming wealthy is about discipline or routines or waking up at 5 a.m. or perfect consistency, but it's actually not. The people who become massively successful are usually the people who become emotionally and everything consumed by something. It's the ones who can't stop thinking about it, talking about it, researching it, visualizing it. That level of obsession turns into energy. But the problem is most people are directing that energy into fear, into overthinking, into anxiety and survival. But when someone learns how to direct that obsession into one vision, one identity, one future reality, their entire life changes because your reality follows your dominant frequency. So if every day you're obsessing over lack or failure or what if this doesn't work, your nervous system will keep recreating survival on a loop. But if you repeatedly connect to and you embody the version of you who already has the life that you want, eventually your brain, your body, and your energy will stop treating it like it's a fantasy, and it's going to start treating it like as though it's a memory. And this is when the opportunities, the people, the ideas, and the money start appearing in your life differently. And it's not because you got lucky, even though some people might say it is. It's because you suddenly became a match for that higher timeline.
That is something that I'm working on myself, guys. To be brutally honest with all of you, I struggle with that every single night in bed. When I go to bed, I'm laying down, I struggle with my anxiety. I struggle with, am I on the right path? I struggle with, am I making the right decisions? Am I doing the right things for my family? And come to find out from previous videos I've made to the comments I've seen in my, in my video, and then the other men I talk to in my personal life, on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, it's super normal. It is. So I wanted to include this clip because during my research, I found this. I was like, this is me spot on. I am on kind of like a survival mode. I am tend to be somewhat optimistic, but also pessimistic at the same time for my future because I am worried about losing money. I need to provide for my family. I have to make sure bills are, all this stuff lines out. But I also need to do a better job of telling myself that I will figure it out. That I may be missing out on something if I don't move forward in, whatever it is. So I wanted to include that, and I wanted to end that with today's video to let you guys know that if that's also you out there, one, I'm with you. I think it's very common for us, late 20s to, I would say, probably even like your late 40s, that age group, where you're struggling about like, what am I doing in life? Where am I going? What is this for? And am I doing the right things right now for my family? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was actually super fun to make. I've been leaning a little bit more towards trying to put a little bit of different things out every now and then. I'm trying to get more finance focused sometimes on some of these videos. Not so just all doom and gloom, whatever, but those unfortunately get good views, let's be honest. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And until next video, you all take care.